Hi there, hello. I am Dirt, and you can call me Dirt. And today I want to talk about mascot horror and an idea I have that might just intrigue you. So, when I say mascot horror, you probably think of a list of games: Five Nights at Freddy's, Poppy Playtime, and Gurna Ban Ban. And there's a lot more. A lot more. Which can make it feel monotonous and samey, especially the low quality ones. But even the big mascot games are feeling a little uninspired nowadays. In general, it's pretty stale. Not that there aren't good games out there, there's plenty, but they get buried under the low quality cash grabs and the infinite well of demos and chapter 1s. But I can't help but love the genre all the same. As frustrating as the books being required for the lore is, the repetitive designs, the mountain of content that's impossible to really keep up with, the amount of dumb merch and blatant rip-offs, I still kinda love it. The concepts and ideas, some of the designs, there's some potential in a lot of these. The first Joyful game might have been a bit uninspired, but being completely honest, the second game has some of the funniest moments I have ever seen. The pink cat flips you off when you kill her. I was so caught off guard that I burst out laughing. Muzi, with that weird little green rat thing, may not be the best game, but the green rat pummels you when it catches you, which is a treat to watch. There's also an insane amount of fan games and new devs getting the chance to make something simple to test out developing, and I, of course, am no different. I kinda always wanted to throw my proverbial hat into the ring. You see, even before FNAF hit the scene, I've always loved robots. Wall-E was the first movie I ever saw in theaters, and something there changed my brain chemistry because I've been legally obligated to check out anything with them in it since. I Am Robot, Johnny 5, Big Hero 6, Iron Giant, Transformers, Murder Drones, Bastion from Overwatch, Gladys and Wheatley from Portal, Bebop from Deadlock, and of course FNAF, with its many animatronics, and a bunch of others that I haven't even listed. So, even though it's technically been done a million times, I'm still gonna work with an animatronic mascot concept because I just genuinely like the concept. Now, a while ago, I posted this animatic I made for a school assignment with these animatronic characters, which you can not only find on my channel, but you can find the concept art and thumbnails on my DeviantArt. Name's the same, iamdirtart. You can check it out. Anyway, shameless plug over, let's get back to the show. So I had made them just for the assignment. I was going to do something else if I ever made a game, and after I made them for the assignment, I kind of immediately fell in love with their designs and the ideas spinning around in my head. And the more I thought about it, the more fun the ideas seemed to get. So, before I get into any story or gameplay, I wanted to show off my little guys because mascots are kinda the namesake of the genre. So, inside of Animatronic Alley, we've got a cast of 4, starting with Maximilian Martian. So, he's obviously an alien, and I wanted to base him off of the retro futurism look. Those posters about space travel with vinyl suits and bright colors, very much like the Jetsons TV show, if you remember it. He also had to be green because, he's an alien, obviously. So, Maximilian was made for the VR building in the strip that has games and experiences of all kinds. Have you ever seen those adult baby walkers with the people in VR equipment? Yeah, that's his place. The physical animatronic wasn't strictly necessary, but the company that was making them did the other 3 places, so the owners kinda felt like they couldn't be the odd man out and got one to walk around and talk to guests as a guide and a gimmick. Plus, his existence pushed the whole futuristic idea behind the place. Max is competitive, a bit brash at times, and a bit of a cheat at cards. For some strange reason, he kinda prefers physical board games and sports over the digital ones. Big fan of dancing, too. Obviously, he's got the highest score in anything with a score, but he greatly respects anyone that gets close and rewards them with a special discount on passes and merch for their immense skill. He's technically not supposed to do that, but he's just a robot. They simply get weird quirks when you program a personality. Nothing to worry about there. And then we have Sergius Sphinx, the escape artist animatronic that mans the escape rooms, occasionally retrieving children that wandered off because the adults just didn't want to babysit, I guess. The idea actually came from those videos I kept seeing of this Sphinx cat being really good at solving those food puzzles, and cats seem to like escaping places anyhow. Giving him a wiry design felt like a natural thing to do for both the cat design, but also for the whole, robot thing. He's prideful and posh, treating every meeting like a stage performance, using thous, forsooths, and whatnots, which does mean some of the younger ones have trouble understanding him sometimes. He actually gets gifts sometimes from the regular visitors, including fun little hats to wear, which he then hides from the staff in the vents, making sure to always wear them when the gifter visits, as much as he acts like he just happened to be wearing it. What a coincidence that you're here. Though they do have to figure out a way to keep him out of the vents. He keeps hiding in them and even scaring the guests. He seems to get a kick out of it. It's really becoming an issue. Next up is Xiaolong, who's the noodle stand's mascot and the first one to have been ordered. A Chinese dragon as a mascot for a noodle place is just so cohesive. I don't know how I haven't seen that idea yet, but that's relevant. People want dinner and a show. So there's a few copies of him at different tables to mimic a hibachi-style restaurant, with him handing guests their food that he quote-unquote cooks in front of them. It's just a well-designed illusion, though. The noodles are fake, and the fire's the only thing real about the performance. Good thing he's a robot that can't feel pain. He's the old man of the group, built to act reminiscent of those old kung fu master-type characters. The guy that owns the place was actually the one to record the lines, so Xiaolong could have an authentic accent. Some of the visitors do joke that he sounds like an anime character, but the owner finds it funny, so he doesn't mind. Could have sworn the one at the front keeps watching people, though. And last, but definitely not least, we have Tony Television running laser tag like it's a game show, complete with commentary and interviews. If you want your birthday to feel like a real event, you can go find him. Obviously, his design is a TV head type character, but I love the neon so much. I actually referenced a teal fridge to get that color because I like that color so much. It's so pretty. But the idea that he's a game show host treating laser tag like it's some life and death competition, it's so good. I love it so much. The classic sports commentary, the neon colors, with his enthusiastic commentary and teasing sarcastic personality, it makes for a great show while you're waiting for your turn in the lobby. And an absolute glutton for attention. No phones are allowed in his presence. Unless you're documenting his remarkable face, of course. Don't use flash, though. Ruins the wonderful lighting. And now that you've seen my sillies, there's of course a lot more important things that come with the genre. Most importantly, the fact that it's supposed to be a video game that needs to be fun to play and at least make a little sense. And there's a lot of places to take inspiration from. So, even though Security Breach was a mess on release, trust me, I know. I bought it for my birthday, played it on release day, and I apparently had made the grave error of not using a top-of-the-line computer because halfway through the first chase, everything unloaded and I got banished into a pile of fans. Still no clue how that happened or how to recreate it. I don't even know what hallway I ended up in. It was honestly insane. I wish I was filming. But despite that, I still love the idea, love the concept. A mascot horror where the murder robot helps you is something just built for me. Now, I know Indigo Park technically also did that idea, but I wanted to take it in a bit of a different direction and do something with actual replayability outside of the stock good endings and bad endings. And don't worry, there will be a cohesive story in-game, but also lore for people to theorize about. I'm not dense. You need to have both for these games to be worth their salt. Now, all these ideas are very loose and conceptual. I don't even have any experience with game development, so I wouldn't be able to gauge how much of this is realistically possible outside of my imagination. But that's why I'm a concept artist and writer and not a programmer. This is basically just my daydreaming. I don't want to do math. Although, if you find any of this interesting and maybe you want to help with development or even want concept art done for your own project, I do have my email in the description if you're interested. But continuing on, picture this. The game opens with a small group of children exploring an alleyway at night. They'd heard a bunch of rumors at school about some shady guys in suits. Kids saying you'd disappear if they caught you. Others rambling on about how they totally got caught and fought them all off with their awesome ninja skills. Of course, that was ridiculous, and they intended to disprove this silly rumor going around. It helped them sleep better at night anyways. As they explore, crawling through holes in the fencing and finding cool-looking scraps of paper and rocks, the selection screen opens and you pick which kid you play as. Then, they spot something. A discarded briefcase. They all gather around it before curiously opening it, revealing a whole bunch of weird circuits and electronic stuff. Some more weird rocks, too. But suddenly, flashlights are on them as a security guard barks out, "What are you doing? You're not supposed to be here. You brats are trespassing on private property." Men in suits come out the doors, and everyone panics, scurrying away like scared mice. As the group runs, they get separated. As you follow the kid you picked, we'll say it's Casey for example's sake, he keeps running. Through the dark parking lot, he dashes into the noodle shop, ducking under the counter, hoping the men in suits outside would leave. But they don't. They start patrolling around, searching, the giant animatronic dragon statue-like form shielding him from view just on the other side. The suit looks around, starting to peek under the tables, and just as the tablecloth's going to be lifted, the seemingly lifeless robot starts to life, holding the man's hand and stating that no guests are allowed under the table. The mechanism for my operation is dangerous and not to be tampered with. The man, momentarily startled, assumes it's an anti-tamper system and moves on. If it wouldn't let him touch the cloth, the kid couldn't be in there. After fruitless searching, the suits leave the building, regrouping in the parking lot. Unable to find their targets, they discuss their next steps. There's a sense of relief. Casey peeks out from under the tablecloth. They hadn't gotten any of his friends. They were all safe. But after a moment, he's realized something, looking up. Seeing the previously deactivated animatronic looking down at him, not speaking. They stare at each other before he awkwardly waves at the animatronic, which he shockingly returns. After the guys in suits leave, he hesitates for a moment before getting creeped out and leaving the noodle restaurant. The kids meet up in the parking lot, all saying the same thing. "You'll never believe what happened." So, basically how this would go is that there's a single-player story mode where you follow the story of the kid you picked, which matches up to an animatronic. The kid I used for the example, Casey, is obviously the storyline with Xiao Long helping you. Maximilian helps Austin, Tony helps Riley, and Jordan is helped by Sergius, each with a masculine and feminine version just for funsies. So, as the story progresses, you learn more about your respective kid, and mysteries are uncovered revealing things about both the robots and the strange suited men. So, obviously, instead of the mascots being the source of the horror, they're protecting you from it, which does allow me to have the fun, merchandisable mascots be ostensibly kid-friendly and something you'd reasonably let your child around without removing the scare factor. But of course, a bunch of guys in suits, that's not very scary. They're just some guys, I hear you say. The reason we make the robots and science experiments a threat is because there's a level of unknown built into the concept. What can the robot do to you? What will happen when you're caught? But who's to say that still isn't here? Yeah, they're just humans, but you're a child. Do you think you're gonna fend off a bunch of grown men? Sure, the robot will help defend you, but the robot's stuck in the building. You have to leave sometime. You have to go home. What if they follow you? What if they know? What if you see some evidence of what they might do to you? Humans, especially the morally corrupt ones, are very unpredictable. The unknown, especially in the mind of a child, is terrifying. I know as a kid you had that one adult that freaked you out. Maybe someone convinced you that they snatched kids. Maybe it was just a vibe. But, especially in elementary school, there was always that one guy that all the students decided was scary, making up stories and gossiping about what they might do to you if you're caught alone with them. Or maybe my childhood was darker than most. Of course, this will all be very dependent on how immersive the environment is, the ambience and the 3D models, so this is by far more conceptual than the rest of the designs. Then there's potentially a multiplayer mode with 4 people going into the building with all the robots going haywire, having to first avoid them and then fix them. That one's also super, like, up in the air, as I don't know how viable that gameplay would be and how to fit it into the story, but this is just me spitting out ideas anyways. There's so many other directions I could take this, but these felt like they had the most potential and spoke to me the most, especially considering how different the story and gameplay could feel playing as each kid with varying personalities. Like, for example, Casey could have more stealth-focused gameplay, finding hidey holes and laying low most of the time. I imagined Riley being more focused on distraction, especially being set up in Tony's building with laser tag. Austin might try to fight back their own way, being the most brash of the group. Jordan might be more strategic, especially since they're working with Sergius, using the escape rooms to their benefit, potentially locking adversaries in rooms to buy times. Or the personalities could be swapped. Maybe each kid isn't tied to a specific animatronic, although that would either feel really cheap, like the kid you pick doesn't matter, or I'd have to make 16 storyline variations if there's one ending, or even 32 storylines if I want to have a good and bad ending. Or I could just Occam's razor it and have it be a chapter for each kid's storyline. I don't really know. Now, of course, this is all very conceptual work, and if you guys are interested in more, I will definitely try to flesh it all out. And if you're interested in making this idea a reality, you can once again find my email in the description below, because I am totally up for working with someone to make this happen. I have a lot more ideas for this. But anyways, if you liked my ideas, the video, or just the art, remember to please like and subscribe. These things always take so much more work than I think they will, and showing your support is always helpful. I also have a free Patreon I'm setting up that you can join to get early access to my content and exclusive things, though which exclusive things I haven't fully decided yet, which is why there's a poll set up for you guys to pick which rewards you get. Self-promotion over, I have been Dirt, and this has been fun. Dirt out.